Welcome to the Infonet C-Store installation video. Over the next hour, I'm going to show and demonstrate how to set up the C-Store Commander software and how to configure and troubleshoot integration into pumps and pay at the pump. We are going to go over the different types of pump controllers out on the market. Dresser Wayne has been out on the market for many years. The original ECC box, which is still in production today and can still be purchased, is one of the oldest technologies for pump controlling. The new technology for Wayne is the Wayne Fusion controller. This has been out for over the past year. The Wayne Fusion comes in two different models. One is the Fusion controller and the other one is the Fusion Net. The Fusion controller can do both pump and cat control at the same time, whereas the Fusion Net is designed to take a TCP interface and convert it to two-wire RS-232. The other company that we deal with when it's related to pumps is Gilbarco. Gilbarco has two units currently out there in production. The first Gilbarco controller is the PAM 1000. This unit is currently discontinued and is no longer sold, but you will find it in many gas stations. The second unit is the PAM 5000. This has been sold over the last 2 years and is a great improvement over the PAM 1000. The difference between the two controllers, between the PAM 1000 and PAM 5000, is that the PAM 1000 needs a distribution box as well as it needs its own CRIND interface using a black box and the D box combined. Whereas the PAM 5000 has the distribution box and the CRIND control all in the same unit. For all other pump types such as Krause, Tokheim, and Bennett, we use what's called a Pi Direct box. The Pi Direct uses a TCP/IP interface using an RJ45 cable. Pi boxes do not support pay at the pump. That is key to know that if you are going to be installing a pay at the pump site, you cannot use a Pi box. One question that is frequently asked of me is which pump type is the easiest to install? The question is quite simple. All of them are exactly the same. There is no difficult and no easy one. They are all the same. The only difference in which installing the pumps vary is the way that they connect to the back office machine. Each one uses a different type of cable, whereas Wayne uses a null modem and a standard serial cable to connect, and Gilbarco uses custom-made cables that you have to make yourself. And the Pi will use a RJ45 connector to connect to a network connection to the back office machine. The most important thing to having a smooth installation is all in the preparation. During this video, I will show you how to make the package, how to install all the software to make the transition from a shutdown site to a fully operational site a reality within a couple hours. I'm going to briefly explain to you the package that comes with this video. The packages are installation files required to install any site. Now, when you look at your CD, you'll have the following folders. All the files on here are necessary to install our product. I'm going to change the view to a detailed view so you can see all the names in the full length. Now, here you'll see that we have a back office package head office and a back office package independent. The main difference between these two packages is the head office version has MSDE or SQL 2000 Express as its main database. This is required for DTS transfer or transfer from the store to the head office. whereas the independent package runs SQL Server 2008, which does not support the DTS from the back office to the head office. SQL Server 2008 is very beneficial because it allows a 10 gigabyte database size, whereas the MSDE, or the head office package, only allows a 2 gigabyte database size on the store level. Now, I will go into one of these packages here, and I'm going to break down exactly what's inside here. So again, I'm going to switch to detail view, and we're going to take a look here. So for the head office package, of course, you're going to have your DTS packages, but in all cases, what you're going to see is you're going to see this TPS, a screen, a reports, a picture, and an Excel reports folder. These will automatically copy over during the installation once you run the setup bat file. Now, each of our installations come with a copy of Adobe Reader, right? And to complement it, what we've done is there's two files here called a converter, and there's another one here called Qt Writer. This is a Qt PDF, which allows you to take your Crystal reports and print them directly into a PDF format. What we also have here are all the databases, as you can see here. Those will automatically copy over to C drive data during the installation, and that's where you'll find them to attach them. You'll also find the back office MSI, as well as the latest back office EXE. You'll also find Crystal MSI, which is for Crystal reports, for of course Crystal reports in the back office. And you'll also find all the other components, such as the Gilbarco pump and the Gilbarco reader, the Wayne pump, and the Wayne reader OCXs. That's for our controls for our field control. You also find all three field control EXEs. There's the Gilbarco, Pi, and Wayne. Now, one thing to note in here, I have placed the .NET 2.0 package in here, but in most cases when you install this on the machine, you already have .NET already installed. So you may want to remove this from the package so it doesn't install. Also in this package you'll find MSXML6. This is needed for loyalty. And also you also need it for SQL Server Management Studio Express to actually communicate. The other components you'll find in here, like tank dip and T-Jeeps and Novak price sign, all these are in there, as well as your Gilbarco doctor and Wayne doctor. That's a quick explanation of everything that's in here. One thing I want to show you is this is the installed cstore.bat file. This is the file that you're going to execute in order to install all of this. You don't have to click on the MSIs one by one. Everything is in this one bat file. If you go in here, you'll see the list of everything that's in here, and if there's anything that you do not want to copy or install, you can simply just delete that line and it will not install. It's very quick and easy to do, so just delete whatever you don't want, save it, and then when you execute it, that will not be installed, and you can pick and choose. If there's something that you want to add, say that is not included in the package but you want the customer to have, you can put into this package and simply just create a line in this batch file, and it will be created along with everything else. Next is drivers. I have placed drivers in this package for the Epson printer and the tech drivers and the ORS driver. They're all in here. So whatever product that you use, mainly it's between Toshiba and ORS, you can just go through here and install any drivers that you may need. I've also put the fuel management package on here. It's very simple. As long as you have .NET installed on your system and you have everything configured in the database, you can run field management. It's straightforward to set up. Inside the folder, you'll also find the PDF file on actually how to set it up right here. We also have the global payments chip and pin and the Moneris chip and pin packages, so you can install that for your customers, as well as the latest handheld Infonet inventory control program. You can install this. This is for the MC50 and MC55. It will not work for any other product. And it's also inside there you'll find the PDF on how to set it up and how to use it. You'll also find a copy of PC Anywhere 12.5. This is for your remote desktop connection to any site. It's pretty straightforward on how to set it up. If you haven't set it up before, there's a tutorial inside the actual program itself. They'll explain to you how to set it up. Also in the package here, we have the POS package. It's kind of like the back office package, but a lot smaller because there's a lot less that has to be installed. Again, you'll have the BAT file that you can execute, and it's really quick. For the POS, it just takes a matter of a couple seconds for all this to execute. And of course, we leave some SQL scripts in here. Now, these scripts, depending on what you want, they do different things. The first one here, this one here will clear all the transactional data in the database. So if you're doing tests with the customer before you're about to go live, you run this and it deletes everything in the database. If you're using an existing customer's database but you want to wipe out the stock codes and everything, you run this clear master tables HOBO. Database maintenance plans for MSDE. You can execute this and then you can run the jobs through the SQL agent. Now, the delete all SQL jobs script, this is if you made a mistake on any of like the DTS settings or whatnot, or you change the name of the database. You can run this delete all job script and it'll delete all the jobs in the database, and you can re-execute the scripts to recreate the jobs. Now this DTS job script, this is what you use to actually create the jobs for the DTS from BO to HO, HO to BO. PTC loading, this is for our PT version of the CStore Commander. This is to load the information for the buttons on the top of the screen. By default, the database already has this information, so you will not have to actually run this. This you may use on a really old database if you have a customer that hasn't been updated in the last 2 years. Repair DTS jobs. This script here, like I said before, if the customer changed their back office computer name, if you run the script, it will repair the name. So say it was called like back office / back office, and now you named it main computer / back office. So when you run this, it'll change all the settings to main computer / back office. This is just another cleanup for the database to wipe out all the information. We have a couple of these. One thing to note is never leave these scripts on the computer so the customer cannot just accidentally click on them. These are for your use only, so once you have executed them, remove them. This suspend head, we found an issue where if the customer had a really old database and they ran some of these scripts, you'd always complain about the suspend head missing. So we created a script to just insert that. The update statistics script will allow you to re-index the entire database. This is a good thing to do if the customer is complaining that their system is running really slow. If you run this, it'll really speed it up really quick. Now, the other files that we have here are just the user manuals and installation guide. The installation guide is what I refer to in this video as the main go-to document, because this document has every single setting that you will possibly encounter or need in the field. So if you always have a copy of this on you and refer to it, you'll have no problems. To start the installation process, we are going to copy the contents of the package from your memory stick to the back office computer. Typically what we like to do is copy it to the secondary partition so that it doesn't fill up the primary. Copy the back office package as well as other supporting programs such as Symantec PC Anywhere, and of course any banking package that you will need. While the package is copying over, go into your control panel under System, and what we're going to do is we're going to rename the back office computer typically to the name of the store. Once that is complete, we're going to go into the users and we're going to enable the guest account. Once the guest account is enabled, we need to enable file sharing on the back office machine. We don't actually need to share a folder, but we need to at least enable file sharing. This is so that we have user rights when we're trying to log in from the POS machine to the back office. Once the package has finished copying, what we're going to do is we're going to go into the back office package and we're going to locate the install cstore.bat file. We're going to edit and modify this and remove any programs that we do not want to be installed from this file. Once you're done, save the file, then we will execute the file. Once the bat file is executed, you just have to click on all the prompts that come up. We'll start off with SQL Server and move on through the back office, field control, and other packages, etc. This bat file not only executes all the installers, but it also puts all the supporting files such as reports, database, everything into the proper location where you will be able to access them and use them later. As a side note, if you have already ran Windows Update and have installed the .NET Framework 3.5, do not install the .NET Framework 2.0 that was included in the package, as it is not necessary. When installing the Qt PDF, be sure to uncheck all the checkboxes for the Ask toolbar, as you do not want this to be installed with the rest of your installation process. When installing DBA Manager, be sure to check the Restart Later option, as you still need to install the TPS for the pay at the pump. That concludes our package installation process. Next is to set up the database in order for us to start accessing and setting up the rest of the software. So open up SQL Server Management Studio and log in to your instance of your database. Right-click on Databases and select Attach. Click on Add and select your databases one by one. Once you have selected all the databases, you'll then click on OK and it will commence the attachment. Next, we're going to add the login users and give them permission to access the database. Once you have located your users, you're going to give them sysadmin privileges, and then you're going to assign each database one by one and give them owner status. Once you have completed this, click on OK to commit the changes. Next, we are going to change the security settings for the database to change it to mixed mode authentication, which is both Windows and SQL authentication. This is so that our TPS EMV is going to work. Once that is done, restart SQL Server for all the changes to take effect. Next, modify the datapath.ini file to include the new SQL Server instance name. Next, open up the back office to make sure that all of your settings are correct. We are testing the database to make sure that we can open it up and access everything normally. The next step is to generate a company license. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up the back office and go under the data maintenance to company. We're then going to add all the company information such as store name, address, phone number, HST or GST information, as well as phone and fax. We'll then, after this, go into features and add information such as all the features that they have purchased, as well as add the POS IP address into it. Once you have completed all this information, you'll then click on Save and then Save to File. Next, you're going to copy the company INI file and send it to Infonet for them to generate a license key. Please note that you cannot make any changes to the company on the back office machine before the new key is given, otherwise the new key will be invalid. Once you have received the new key from Infonet, you will then copy it back to the back office. Then you're going to execute a program called lowsecurity.exe. In this program, you will need to select the back office instance name for SQL Server, as well as the back office IP. You will need to locate your IP address for the back office machine before you proceed, in case you don't know it already. The next step is to set up the field control. Open up the fcusage.ini and put a space between online. Next, open up your field control and log in with username X with the password X. This is a graphical user interface on how to actually set up all your field settings. I'm only going to give you a brief explanation of this and showing this because I actually prefer to do it in the database. As you can see all of your assignments, you can see all your positions on your pumps, you can move them around to whatever location you'd like, just in case you want to change it up on the screen. You also have all the settings for what COM port the pumps use, and as well as the pump back office's IP address as well. Under the reader setup, you can enable the readers and select either credit, debit, as well as duck put, which is used for the EMV banking transactions. You also have the grade map button. This is only used for Gilbarco to program the PAM 1000 or PAM 5000. To start our setup, we're going to go into the SQL Management Studio, and we are going to go under the pump database. I prefer to do it this way. It's a lot quicker and easier, and if you know what you're doing, it's going to save you a lot of time. The first thing is what we're going to do is we're going to add whatever pumps that we need just by copying and pasting, being sure to change the pump number in the first few fields that you see there. We're going to add 6 pumps altogether. Once that's done, what we're going to do is we're going to confirm our grade IDs. At this time you can change the grade ID number to match whatever the store wants it to be. Typically Wayne, you're going to use 456 as the regular mid-grade premium and 1 as diesel. Gilbarco, you can change it to whatever you like. The system will take any number. Next, we're going to go into the assignment tables. In here, what you need to do is you need to set up how many positions there are. For Gilbarco, for like a regular, mid-grade, and premium, you're going to set up 3 lines for 1 pump. So you have pump 1, and you have 3 ones on the first column, and then you set the position 1, 2, and 3, or depending on the model number, you will put those position IDs in, and same with Wayne. Then you'll add the grade IDs that correspond to that position in the 3rd column over. For the premium, regular, and tank fields, for now you can leave them at 0. If you want to set up like fuel management and something in the future, you'll fill those in if you are going to use that feature. But in most cases you can leave them at 0 and not have to fill them in. Earlier on, we changed the grade IDs. Next, what we need to do is, because we changed the grade IDs, we need to change the increment table as well. So we need to add those ID changes under this. If we don't change it here, then we're going to fail on our grade map and our program will crash. Next, we'll need to go into our fuel price table as well, because the numbers that we put in for our grade IDs, they don't exist in this table, and we need to have matching prices go with it. So what I am doing now is I'm changing the IDs to match what our grade ID table used to look like and to what it looks like now. So I'm changing all the 4, 5s, and 6 to 1s, 2s, and 3s. Next, go into the sales option table and look at option number 5 and make sure that this number matches the number of pumps you have. If it does not match, then whatever number you have in there, that is the maximum amount of pumps you can pump on at one time. Next, we're going to go into the reader database and we're going to go into the reader usage table. We are going to enable all 6 readers because we have 6 pumps, and we're going to enable the credit debit on each one as well as the graphics. Take note that the duct put settings in this database are used for the Wayne SPMs. You will need to enable this in order for you to run the SPMs in backwards compatibility mode. Next, you're going to set up the port information for the CRINs as well as the security port for the GSM. You also need to do the same setup changes in the pump setup. We will add the COM port number that it needs to be as well as the correct baud rate. The next step is to grade map the PAM and load the graphics into the readers. You can grade map by going to FC offline mode, or you can enter the Gilbarco Doctor by using the password IFICC and then the 2-digit date code. Once you are in there, select RS-232, set your COM port, and then click on the first 3 buttons on the top of the screen for map grade, set blend ratio, and set price. Once this is done, you can go into the reader setup and hit initialize. What this will do, this will start loading the graphics onto the crins. This will take up to 2 minutes per crin, so please be patient. Also note that this does not have to be done for Wayne, as Wayne has injected messages into this hardware. For time constraints, we're going to jump across to the next section. Next, we're going to load the security keys into the pin pads. This is only done for Gilbarco units, as the Wayne already has the keys injected from the bank already. All you need to do is click on initialize, and then it'll follow the process. Keep in mind that this will not work if you do not have your GSM already hooked up into your back office with the proper COM port settings. Now we're going to load the pumps for the very first time. To start off, we're going to disable all the readers. Now we're going to go into the fcusage.ini file and bring the pumps back online. Next, load your field control. As you can see, the statuses are all ones, meaning that the pumps are online. Now get somebody to lift the nozzle and select a grade to activate one of the pumps. You should see that the status has changed to number 2. Now you can ask the person to hang up the nozzle, and that concludes the first part of your test. The next section of the test will begin once the POS is up and running. To set up the banking for pay at the pump, open up the TPS folder inside the CStore Commander folder and run TPS. Enter the password 12345 and hit enter. If you're going to be using a multi-threading or multi-lane bank key for your pump setup, please enter the number of lanes that you're going to be using. Please keep in mind that you will need to request this many terminal IDs from Global Payments before you do so. In most cases, you're only going to use one terminal ID, so you do not need to enter in how many lanes you have. Once you have finished entering in the terminal information, click on Save and Exit. Next, open DB Viewer, and we're going to take a look at the global process.mdb file. What we're going to be doing is we're going to go through each table and remove any of the old bank lane keys that were in the database originally. Once we go into the setup table, we're going to confirm that our MCC or SCC selection is correct and that the right certificate is in the database. Next, we're going to go back into SQL Server Management Studio, and we're going to go into the CSC admin database. We're then going to go into the table terminal IDs and add the first terminal ID for debit and credit for pay at the pump, which is till 100. Once this is complete, you can start up fuel control and load the TPS again. When you are ready, you can hit init all pin pads, and we will then initialize all the pin pads for pay at the pump. Note this will not work if fuel control is not running. Next, we're going to set up the EMV database for the POS machine. Run the bat file to install the TPS database. If the command window closes early before the wizard starts, go to C Drive CStore Commander TPS service. Please note that now in the back office you have two TPS folders, one for pay at the pump as shown here, and another one for the TPS service for the POS. Choose your directory to which your other databases are located. Next, verify that the security settings for the database allows SQL authentication. Next, go into the CSC admin database and set up your terminal IDs for the POS machines. Once complete, go into the back office and set up the policies to enable EMV. To do this, go into Policies, Policy by Class, Business Practices, select your bank type as Global Payments or Moneris, then go to the policy for EMV compliance. Now we are going to start our POS installation. To start, gather your files like you did for the back office. Create a package folder on one of the drives on the POS machine. Copy all installation packages that you will need. While you are waiting for the package to copy, go into the system and change your computer name to POS 1 or 2 depending on which number it is. Next, disable your firewall. Once that's complete, go into your network's properties for your network adapter and change the IP address to the IP address that you defined in your company INI. Once your package has finished being copied, open up the POS installation folder and remove any files that you do not want installed. Then double click on the installation bat file. Next, connect the printer to the computer. Now install the driver for the printer. Next, change the data path to INI to match the back office instance name. Also change the register so it does not match the back office register number. Next, put the latest POS exe in the CStore Commander folder. Create a shortcut for the desktop. Once the printer has been finished installed, print a test page. Next, open up the Epson utility to verify the printer settings. One key feature is to check the print density to see how dark it is. Typically set it to the maximum, which is 130%. Next, on the back office computer, open up the back office program. Go under Data Maintenance, then Registers. Select Register to. Change the settings inside this form here to match what your computer POS register settings are. Be sure to change the printer name, customer display settings, and as well as the cache drawer open command. Next, we're going to install the TPS EMV on the POS machine. Go back into your package directory where you first put the installation folders. Open up the TPS service installation and run the bat file. Part of the installation process, a wizard will open up. Select your database instance name, then type in your store name as well as your email address or an email address for Infonet technology. Then click on Create File. Once Infonet has generated a key for you, paste the key into the key box. Then press Next. Set your floor limit. Be sure not to put it too high. Typically 75 is the standard. Enter in your merchant ID, the serial port that the pin pad is plugged into, as well as both credit and debit terminal IDs. Next, upgrade the TPS service with the latest files from Infonet. Next, go into the computer services. Find the TPS service. Under Logon, checked will interact with desktop. Next, start the service. The next step is to initialize the pin pad. Go into the POS under Options, then Maintenance. Then click on Initialize. This will take a couple seconds for the pin pad to initialize. Once the pin pad has initialized successfully, you will see a message, Initialized pin pad successfully. Press OK. Next, we need to do some test transactions. We need to do both a debit and a credit. The first transaction will fail. The second one will go through. At this point, verify that all parts of your POS is working, such as customer display and printer. Once you have finished your test transactions, we need to do a close batch. You will need to verify that your totalizers do come to the POS by looking at the Z-tape or end of day report. Once you hit complete till close, you will see the closed batch report from the banking pop out of the printer. You will not see it on the screen. Press print to print off your end of day report, and then press exit to close the POS. The last and final step is to finish off doing the pump tests. Log back into the POS. Wait for the pumps to load. Next, set a prepay for one of the pumps for $5. Next, go out to the pump, lift the nozzle, and select a grade and start pumping. Once the pump is pumping, you can click on the pump to display the current status of how much is pumped. Also, lift the nozzle of some other pumps out there to see if the pumps are calling. Once you have verified that the pumps are calling, click on the pumps to activate the pumps to allow them to dispense fuel. Once you are done with your transaction, hang up all the nozzles. Pull the baskets down to the sale line and verify that the numbers match what's on the dispenser outside. Once this is verified, you can click on the pump test button to clear the sales. The Wayne Fusion is a very simple device. On the front side of the Wayne Fusion, you have two indicator lights. The top one is to indicate the power, and the bottom one is to indicate hard drive status. On the back side of the Fusion, this is where everything connects. You will find the power button in the top left-hand corner. The back office will plug into the two lower COM ports on the Wayne Fusion. The one on the left is for the pumps, the one on the right is for the cats. The pumps will plug into these green terminal blocks. The Wayne Fusion also has a RJ45 port for TCP/IP communication. The cats will plug into this long terminal block, which will then plug into the back of the Wayne Fusion. Before programming your Wayne Fusion controller, be sure that your pumps are plugged into the channel that corresponds to the pump number, and that the lights are blinking rapidly for each pump channel that has pumps plugged into it. To begin programming the way in Fusion, open up Internet Explorer. Type in the username admin and the password as dresser3141. Next, click on Configuration, Maintenance, Clear Configuration. Then click on Configuration, Maintenance, Apply Configuration. Then click on Configuration, Generic, select HyperPIP from the drop-down menu. Double check to make sure that the baud rate is set to 19200. Then go to POS configuration and set the value to yes. Then apply. Click on Send New Configuration to Fusion. Then click on Configuration, Maintenance, Apply Configuration. Open up Wayne Doctor and use the password Wayne Tech and then hit the Enter key. Next, click on the button that says Update HyperPIP from DB. Make sure all three boxes are checked and hit Update. Once the update is complete, exit out of Wayne Doctor and go back into the web browser. Click on Configuration, Devices, then Pumps. Make sure that all the pumps are displayed. Click on each individual pump and make sure that the grades at the bottom of this page match the configuration of your pumps. Then click on Configuration, Devices, and go to Grades, and make sure that all the grades that you are going to be using are in this list. Once confirmed, click on Configuration, Generic, select HyperPIP from the drop-down menu, and go to POS Configuration and set the value to No. Send the new configuration to Fusion. Once this is done, click on Configuration, Maintenance, Apply Configuration. Now you are finished programming the Fusion. You may now close your web browser. The EC box is comprised of 3 boards. We have a main board, a HyperPIP board, and a 4-channel cat board. When the pumps are talking to the EC box, you'll notice that on the HyperPIB board you'll have a couple of the red lights blinking. The back office computer connects to the JP1 port on the HyperPIB board to control the pumps. The JP1 port wire is then connected to the outside of the EC box, as you can see here. This is a DB25 connector. You will have to connect the back office computer to this port via a null modem cable. The other port you see here is for the cats. This is connected via the back office computer with a standard serial cable. The cat port has a ribbon cable that goes from the external port to the 4-channel cat board. When the cats are communicating properly, you will notice that the row of LED lights will be blinking. If there is no communication, these lights will remain off. You will also find the MSM inside the EC box. This is the security module for your debit transactions. The MSM communicates to the back office computer through the 4-channel CAT, which is connected by a standard serial cable to the back office. For the Wayne EC, if you have any troubles communicating to the pumps or the cats, please verify that you are using a null modem cable for the pumps and a standard serial cable for the cats. If these are correct, then verify that the jumper settings on the HyperPIB and the cat board are correct. You can find these settings inside of our installation guide. Setting the pumps up in a database is the same as Gilbarco. What you need to do is go into Microsoft Management Studio and go to the CSE pump database. We're going to start off by going into the pumps table, and we're going to add all the pumps that we require. Also note that you'll also have to do the same thing if you're using a Fusion in the Wayne Doctor, because they have an Access database that they use to program the Fusion. So as you can see here, what we're doing is we're just copying one line in the table and pasting it onto another row and just changing the pump number. Next, we're going to go into the grade tables and verify that we have all the grades that we need, and to verify the grade IDs. Next, we're going to go into the assignments table and we're going to adjust the assignments. Now remember, for every single type of Wayne dispenser, the position to grade assignments are different depending on the model of the pump. So please ask the pump tech what those positions are, as he will have to program an ECC manually. He'll have to enter those numbers in himself. For a quick explanation of this table, for each grade you're going to insert one row per pump. You will then insert the position and the grade matching that position in each column in the table. Next, go into the grade increment table and verify that the grade IDs for mid-grade and premium are the same as everywhere else in your database. If you have changed your grade IDs, please change the grade IDs in the fuel price table to match your new settings. The last step is to change cell option number 5 to equal the number of pumps that are on the site. To set up the PAM 5000, you need to figure out what the IP address is. So open up the PAM 5000, and on the inside you'll see a control panel. As you can see here, this is the default position of the panel. So to start off, press the up key, then press the down key, then press the right key, and then press the down key, and again, and then press the right key, and then press the right key again, and then you will find your IP address. To set up the PAM 5000 to talk to our system, open up Internet Explorer. Type in the IP address that you found on the PAM 5000 and enter in the username admin and the password as password. Next, go into the menu options and click on reset and do a master reset. This process will take about 20 seconds. Once the PAM 5000 has finished doing its master reset, click on Installation, then Protocol to Port Assignments. You are going to change the settings for port 11 and port 21. You're going to set up port 11 as PAM POS 4800 baud. You will also set up port 21 as Gilbarco Pump 4800 baud. Once complete, you will do another master reset. The next step to set up the PAM 5000 is to run the grade mapping so that we can get the grade to positions as well as the price and the blend ratios. To do this, we're going to use the Gilbarco Doctor. The next step is to send the graphics to the Gilbarco crins. To do that, we use Gilbarco Doctor again and use Reader Setup. Once this is complete, we will then synchronize the bank keys with the pin pads. When you have proper communication, on the bottom board of the PAM 5000, you'll notice that you have an RX and TX light flashing very slowly. This indicates that you have good communication going. On the board above it, this is where the pumps actually come into the PAM 5000. They should be blinking very rapidly. When the readers are turned on and you have proper communication, you can see that the lights for the readers blink extremely fast, about 3 times faster than the pump lights. Same thing here, where you have your RX and TX, and then your actual crins themselves are connected here. You're going to have a minimum of 2 serial cables coming out of the back of the computer. In the case of Gilbarco, you'll have 3 serial cables coming out the back. This is a typical PAM 5000 cable. As you can see, we are using pins 2, 3, and 5. The connector used for this type of connection is a DB9 female connection. This will plug into the back of the computer. The other end of the cable goes into this block terminal found inside the PAM 5000. As you can see, pinouts 2, 3, and 5 are now the first 3 . On the back of the PAM 1000, you can see that you have a cable for the computer and a cable that goes to the D box. These are for pumps only. Look inside the PAM to make sure that you see the red lights inside there. That indicates that the PAM is powered up and operational. The other way to connect Gilbarco pumps is to use what's called a Gilbarco D box. The Gilbarco D box consists of 2 boards, one for the readers and one for the pumps. As you can see, the 2 boards are identical. The wires come in at the top of the board, connect to these orange connectors here. Now, issues that we've seen in the past is that these connectors are loose and you get intermittent communication to the pumps. The connectors to this D box, there are 2 different types. There's a ribbon connector and a 2-wire connector. For the ribbon connector, you need to set these 2 jumpers right here, as you see here on this video, where they're both vertical. For the 2-wire, you need to turn them both horizontal. Programming the PAM 1000 is exactly the same as programming the PAM 5000. The most common issues with the PAM 5000 and getting it going, typically when you first start the field control, you'll notice that you do not get any communication to the PAM. This is typically due to a couple of reasons. The first off is that the pinouts for the cable are in the wrong sequence. As indicated earlier, pins 2 goes to the bottom block here, pin 3 goes to the middle one, and pin 5 goes to the third one. Next, you must make sure that the ribbon cable on the bottom board for the pumps goes into port 11 on the main board. Lastly, you must make sure that your port-to-protocol assignments that you did in the web browser are correct. If you're still having problems, check your database setting to make sure that you have the correct baud rate and also you have the correct port number on the back office computer. If you are talking to the PAM but you are not talking to the pumps, check the connectors on the inside of the PAM 5000 and make sure that you have the correct polarity. If you notice here, currently you have one solid light and it's not blinking, but the corresponding terminal is connected. As you can see here, that the wire has come out. And if you look on the board, it is now blinking. Simple troubleshooting steps like this will help you fix the problem a lot faster. For the Gilbarco cranes, you have the same symptoms where you are not able to talk to the PAM 5000. Check out your pinouts on the on this main terminal here so that you're 2, 3, and 5. Also, check your back office to make sure that you have the correct baud rate and that you have it plugged into the right serial port. Another thing to remember is that the CRIN board here has specific pinouts for this ribbon cable. As you can see here, the bottom ribbon cable points in a downward motion, where the top one points in the upward motion. These are kind of like a loop back, and then you'll have another ribbon cable going to the main board into port 21. This port 21 we have set up in our port to protocol assignments as the Gilbarco pump baud 4800. Make sure that the card position on the screen of the Gilbarco crane matches what is actually on the pump itself. If the card is facing the wrong direction, replace the insert card.bin file found in the screens folder on the back office computer and reload the graphics to the crins. The other thing to note that on the GSM, the connector that connects from the GSM to the computer have two different ends. The end on the GSM has part number Q13180-04B. The part that goes to the computer is part number Q1318020BE.